All right. Hey, Trisha. Thank you for joining. I'm going to take off the waiting room just so I don't have to wait for everybody. Hey, Trisha. Trisha, I did get access to the documents. I didn't get a chance to review it yet. Waiting room.
So it's okay, just at your leisure. If you're talking, Latrice, you're muted.
Thank you. I was talking. Okay. Yeah, and I was making sure I was going live on YouTube at the same time. Trisha, you follow me on YouTube. Did you get a notice saying that I just went live?
I didn't. Let me see. Nope.
All right, maybe we got to keep going. It showed me that we were going live. Okay, so, all right, we should be going live. All right, yeah, we should be going live. I'm setting up the Canva. I had to restart my computer, but no worries. I said we'll give everybody a couple more minutes anyway. Let me go in present mode. And I'm going to share my screen. Perfect. Let me know. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Let me see. Oh, what? Give me this. I don't like this. What's going on with? All right, there we go. I, I don't like this backdrop, but we're all good. We're all good. Let me pin myself. All right, and you all should see me in the corner. All righty. I usually give it till 6:05, but you know what? We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me see. It should have sent out emails and notifications. Did you get an email notification, Trisha? You're on my email list.
I did.
Yeah, okay, perfect. All right.
And a LinkedIn notification.
Oh, okay. All right. Then we're gonna get started. We're just gonna vibe. Okay. So this is all about how I manifested 40K in 1 month as a woman of color business owner. So most people know me for my career coaching business where I helped women of color reach their first six figures. But a lot of people don't know is that within that business, I grew my business to six figures and multiple six figures as well. And I started from zero like everybody else. Like I did not have an influx of cash. I did not have clients that came from other places. I did not have any of that. What I did have, and I tell people, I do have a business degree. Most people did not realize that I actually have a business degree with a concentration in marketing. That has been my first love. Business was always my first love, and I loved personal branding because personal branding was just marketing yourself. It's like it's just marketing yourself. So I love personal branding. So I mostly just talked about careers. This time I want to really focus on business. The reason why is because I truly believe right now, especially right now in 2026, going into 2027, Black women and women of color should have a business. We need a secondary source of income. Jobs are unpredictable. AI is taking jobs and then they supposed to be replacing them. We need to be able to create our own funds. Not only that, we need to use the funds to create the lifestyle that we desire. And in corporate America, where yes, you can get to that six-figure mark, what I see is that a lot of people work, work, work to get there and then forget to live their lives or forget that this is not stable. And a lot of people used to tell me, well, I'd rather have a job than my own business because it's more stable. It is, I'm here to tell you, well, it is not. If this was like 7 years ago, maybe. But honestly, probably since 2020, I would not say that a career or a job is more stable than having your own business. I am of the belief that you can have both. For several years, I had my own business. I'll go back and I'll tell you all a little bit about my story when I get to the about. But I had a business and a career. I had a marketing business. I had an eBay business, you guys. So I started businesses before I had my career coaching business. So I know what it's like to work, still have a business, still have a family, and live your life. So this workshop is all about how I manifested 40K in 1 month as a woman of color business owner. I'm going to share with you all the lessons that I learned, the techniques that I did, and the mistakes that I made and that a lot of my clients have made as well. Because throughout my years of owning my business, and I've had my business for almost 10 years, I have helped other women grow their business. It was just not something I marketed. It was mostly clients who got to a certain point in their career and then wanted a business. Some of them were business clients who saw how I grew mine and was like, I just want to work with you for business. That's what we're going to go into today. All right, here we go. What you should know. So I'm going to teach you my framework to attract ideal clients who value your work, pay your rates, and refer others. Discover how to increase your income, create new opportunities, and attract ideal clients using your mindset, messaging, and manifestation. Also, we'll have like I said, like 15 to 30 minutes for Q&A session at the end for you to ask any questions. And I'm going to have a special thank you gift as well. Take notes. You all have worked with me before. You all know how this goes. So you can ask questions throughout. Don't feel like you need to wait to the end. If I'm going over a concept or a mistake, or even if I'm telling a story and I'm trying to see if any comments on YouTube too. And you want to ask a question, either put it in the chat or give me the little hand raise, and you can come off mute and we can have a discussion about it. You do not need to wait to the end. All right. I'm going to teach you all the surprising forgiveness practice that I use before manifesting income. The three biggest mistakes that I made and women and other women of color business owners make when trying to attract more income. The visualization practice I use, how to align your actions so opportunities begin to flow towards you. Because even though I'm going to be talking about manifestation, there is action involved. You will have to take some action. You will have to do some things, just to be very clear. The exact framework I use again to attract my ideal clients who value my work. All right, and hey, who am I? Y'all know I love my little snatch picture. So, career coach, leadership coach, speaker, personal branding expert, HR veteran, and the founder of the Dream Life CEO program. I am a firm believer of using what you are already an expert in to create your business. Yes, you always hear about the accountant who started a bakery. Great, yes. Although I find it is much easier to start a business related to your expertise. And if you're already getting paid 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000 for a role in your career, you have a six-figure skill set. You have a skill set that will create a six-figure business for you. So just know this. It doesn't always have to be what I say direct correlation. Like I was in human resources. I could have been an HR consultant, which I love. I could have went into recruiting, which I love. I decided to go the career coaching path. So it doesn't have to always be one to one, but it should be aligned in what you have expertise in. It's going to be the fastest way for you to create some sort of income. That expertise, it can come from your personal expertise. Like Trisha, like with you and I'm gonna call it your program for like reinventing yourself over 50. That's your expertise because you're over 50, right? You know this. So your expertise can also be a lived expertise. I had a client and she had lost 100 pounds naturally and kept it off for 13 years. She's an expert in that. She then went back to school to do this. Her career was IT, but her expertise, okay, so you was this because she was living it. So you can have a you can be a expert in your career. You can also be an expert in something in your personal life. Okay. So I just want to be clear when we talk about expertise and an expert-based business. Okay. Could be personal, could be professional. What it's not is like, you don't have any kids, but you're like, I'm gonna be a child care expert, and you haven't raised a daycare, you ain't did nothing. It's a little unlikely that you would be an expert if you've never nannied, you've never done anything. So things like that. All right. I've helped women of color stop playing it safe, become fearless, and have a great business so they can live their dream life. This is all about having your dream business to support your dream life. As I go through, this is the theme. I actually had someone tell me, she was like, I don't want to start my business because it's going to be a 24/7 job and I have to work 24 hours a day. And I was like, no, you don't. Who told you that? And we will talk about this. You do not bring your employee mindset into entrepreneurship. That will limit your income, limit your potential, burn you out, and limit your capacity. So this is not true. If you have some ideas, notions, things, I call it like the employee mindset, you do not want to bring that into entrepreneurship. One of the main ones is 40 hours a week. So I made that $40,000 in a month and I was only working 20 hours a week. If you all know me, you know I have a kid. I have three kids total, but I have one in the house. I have a husband. I volunteer. I have friends. I travel. I have all these things to do. So I want to share with you all how I supported dozens of women of color in growing their business while still enjoying their lives. All right. And this is my mission for you guys. All right. So I kind of already went through this. I'll make it quick. I went from I have over 10 years experience in HR, went from recruiting and to running my own department to running my own business. I went from a struggling single mother to negotiating a $20,000 promotion for myself to getting promoted every year and doubling my income without burning out. Then I had businesses on the side. While I had an eBay business, I had Dynamic Marketing Solutions. I was climbing the corporate ladder, stopped all of that when I married my husband, and then started all over with my career and my business. That was my best decision. People thought I was crazy. I moved out of my house that I own. I still have that house. But I moved out of the house, I rented it. I quit my job and this was something people were like, what are you doing? I was like, no, I got it. I had a plan. I had a plan, right? And people couldn't believe when I started my business that now I am making more in my business than I would have ever made in my career. And that's just the truth. It's but even with that expertise, I had certifications, I had people under me, I was in leadership, but I have a bigger impact and I make more money in my business now and I have more freedom and more flexibility. And this is what I'm going to teach you all exactly how I did with my Dream Life CEO program. I'm taking the example of when I created 40K in a month. I did not do a launch. I didn't do a whole bunch of crazy emails. I didn't do any of the things that they tell you to do. I a lot of the concepts I'm going to share with you all came from a difficult time in my life. My right when 2020 hit, my mother got diagnosed with a terminal illness, and at that time, I was the only one working at home. All my other siblings were not working from home, so it was decided I would take a week off a month. I didn't think I was going to take a week off. I was going to take a week because we lived in different states, go to Maryland, take care of her after her treatment, and come home. I thought I could work. If you all have ever been a caregiver and you be like, I can work and care for someone, you cannot. So it became apparently clear that I had to take off. I could not work. So I used to take off a week every month. Then the entire world shut down. My son's daycare closed. All of these things happened, you guys, simultaneously and my business stalled out. And I was like, okay, I need to make more money, work less hours because I need to have the free time, work less hours, and like take care of my son. And I have my mother, not to mention all of the emotions that it was taking from me. Me and my sisters were bickering at the time. We couldn't agree on this special chair for my mom when I came up with the concept of disconnecting the concept of time and money. I'm going to tell you all more about this, but I'm sharing this up front because it's an important concept. Work, employment, corporate America teaches us the more we work, the more money we make. And really, that's only for hourly people. When your salary, you could work 60 hours a week or 38 hours a week. Your check is going to be the same. But what they tell you is if you work more, you'll get promoted and you'll make more money. I had to take that concept and throw it out the window because I wasn't able to do that. It was certain things that I wanted for my mom. It was certain things that I wanted for my son. It was certain things that I wanted for myself. And so during this time is when I started to develop some of these concepts. This was not when I created the 40,000, but I started to lay the groundwork for the concept of I can disconnect time and money. right? Like the more time I put in does not equal the more money I get out. And the less time I put in does not mean my income needs to decrease. In fact, 2020 wound up being one of my highest years in that time frame. And I was able to buy my mom a $3,000 chair that she needed without input from my sisters. I was able to help pay for my mom's caregivers because I couldn't be there. Or sometimes I was like, I just want to be with my mom and not be working and like on. And I share this because sometimes people think money is just money. Money can give you time, it can give you freedom. Money through your business allows you and your talents to create the type of income you want. Okay. So I want to share that up front. But tell me if this is you. Successful on paper, but stressed out in person. That was me. You're talented, educated, and accomplished, but you still struggle with imposter syndrome or self-doubt. You want to make a bigger impact and leave a lasting legacy, but you feel stuck and held back. I know I was this, a lot of my clients were there. You have the business, some flexibility, but no freedom. A lot of times we think flexibility is freedom. Those are two different things. And I'm going to share a case study of one of my clients where we really dove into the difference of flexibility versus freedom. And just to make sure, flexibility means you can do your work anytime. You're like, oh, I'm working at 12 p.m. I'm working at 12 a.m. I can stop real quick, do this. But you don't have the freedom to take off. You don't have the freedom to say, I'm going to take midday naps. You have flexibility, but no freedom. Okay. You feel like you should be further along in your life or career, but you don't know where to start. This is you. You're in the right place. All right. So let's talk about it. What is manifestation? Like I use that word like like what do you think? I've gotten everything. People be like, I think it's just thinking about things like woo woo. Like you say an affirmation and then it happens. But you all tell me, you can come off mute or you can tell me in the comments. What do you all think the term or the word manifestation means?
I think this is Shamika. I think it's when you believe in something, you say it. Like if I say I want to be an entrepreneur and have more free time to be with my family. So I believe that. If I believe that, I can manifest that.
All right, I like it. Anything else? Anybody else? Like when you hear the word manifestation or manifest, what are you thinking of? Let me see.
I'm thinking of a, a paradigm shift, a mind shift. And I'm sorry, my background, I got my little grandson over here. He's on his little iPad. But yeah, a mindset shift is what I think. And like the other person who was speaking, um, believing it, saying it, believing it, and eventually, manifesting it. I know law of attraction, I think too. I think of law of attraction and what do they call it? Something of assumption, I think.
Oh, the power of assumption?
Yeah, the power of assumption
Yes.
and different things like that. That's what I think of when I think of manifestation. I'm going to mute out.
All right. Yes, manifestation is all those things. Simply put, it's just to bring to fruition the belief that you have, right? Or you're going to create, you have a belief and you're going to create it in real life. And so I always tell this story about my husband not believing in like manifestation, right? Like manifestation. And I remember telling him, I was like, but everything is a manifestation, right? Okay, someone made me this mug, right? This mug is a manifestation. Someone had the idea, they thought of the colors, and then they brought it to life and fruition. The chair, your outfit. So when people say, I can't manifest, I don't know what it is. You have an idea for an outfit, and then you put it together, you put it on your body. It's brought to life. It's created. It's brought now in like, the 3D or the real world. But yeah, so the power of assumption helps you manifest, meaning I'm going to assume that these lights are going to be green by the time I get there, and they're there, right? So all those things are tied into manifestation. Mindset is a huge one. You ever notice how if someone is like, oh my goodness, I do not want to get stung by a bee. I do not want to get stung by a bee. And they keep saying it. You go to the park and they're the only person who gets stung by the bee, right? Or they're the only person who does something. You can manifest positive and negative. That's why it is a given with the law of assumption. The law of attraction is like, I want to attract positivity. I want to attract this energy. But manifesting, it's all tied into it, but you're bringing it to fruition. You've now created it in real life. Okay. So this is where I started. And I am someone who is A-type personality, right? Like workaholic, ADHD, check all the boxes, all the things. And I was like, I am doing all the things and I am miserable. I was sad. One time I made 50K in this launch. I did this whole launch and I was crying in this room of other business owners because I did not do every single thing. And the coach made it even worse because she was kind of like, well, you should have done everything, even though you hit your goals, because you're setting yourself up for the future, right? And I was like, no. In the midst of that, after the tears, people start coming up to me and they were like, how did you make all this money and you only did like 1/4 of what she said, right? And I was like, I just really believed I was going to do it. And I believed everything I did was going to work. And it worked. But I took action. I do affirmations. Like I do all the normal things too. But I also put in the work. But I also had the belief, the understanding, and I changed my mindset that this was going to work, right? Because I couldn't. At that time, my daughter was having some health issues that needed my attention at that time. Actually, and it lasted several months. And that is what happened. When I decided to manifest the 40K in 1 month, like my husband was already starting to see like like me saying like, oh, I want this, and then it appears somehow, right? I was like, I'm gonna manifest this 40K. And he was like, that's just a lot. Are you doing a launch? Because launches were like stressful. I was like, no, I have a different way. I was taking a manifestation class too. And again, even in that course, in that class, I was like, I'm going to use my own intuition. I did things differently. I do believe that as a Black woman and as a woman of color, and I will say this, yes, everyone is equal, but we have different experiences. We have a different culture and we have a different mindset. So, what may be an easy shift or easy to implement for one person may not be for us. And that is okay, you guys. All right. I want to tell you all a quick story. And while I'm doing that, I want you to all think about what do you want to manifest in your business? Let's say the next 6 months to a year. You can just put it in the comments. What do you want to manifest? And that should be business SS. I just know it's the SS. Business is what that should say. What do you want to manifest? Okay. But I will share this when we talk about culture. I was in this guy session. He was a white male, very nice, also into like meditation, manifestation, using this to grow your business, which I loved it. And he did the scenario. He's like, we're going to do a meditation and close your eyes in this. And then he started yelling in the meditation. And I was like, what? It was weird. But he was like, imagine you're at the beach and you see someone drowning. What are you going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to go get help, right? Like in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to go get help. He was like, and if you didn't say that you're gonna jump in and go get him, you're an a-hole. And I was like, what? Whoa! I'm like, I'm not a strong swimmer. Like, but I looked at that. I got his intent. His intent was like, if you see someone struggling, you're gonna help them, and your business matters because you're helping people. Is what he was saying, right? But the analogy that he used fell flat with me. I'm 5'3", y'all. I'm a woman. I can't pull nobody out of no ocean at no beach, and I am not a strong swimmer. But it's just another example of how culture matters, even when you're talking to people and it's about the same topic. But let me look at this. What do you all want to manifest in your business? Let me check the comments. All right. Believing I want to manifest my reinvention workbook, my PP. Here's the thing though, Trisha, you've already manifested the workbook. It's already done. It's already done. Like, now, what's the next
Well,
level?
what I mean is
Done, girl.
is launching it, selling it is what I mean.
Well, give us a number. Give us a number.
In terms of how many sales?
How many sales, how many women you want to impact, how much money you want to make in the next 6 months. Give it to us.
Wow. So how many women do I want to impact? As many as I can. I don't want to put a number on it. Because I feel like I'm boxing myself in. If I say, oh, I want to help 100, 500 women, I want to impact as many women as I possibly can. Within the next 6 months, I would like, and this may be small, but just maybe $10,000 within the next 6 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You think if you can make $10,000 in the next 6 months from a workbook or a workbook program, that's passive income.
Yeah.
Like that's 10K. And once you make that 10K, you'll learn
Yep.
how to repeat it. You'll learn how to magnify it too. So no,
Yes.
well, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so when we talk about, I do believe in giving numbers and being specific. However, use your intuition and know yourself. So if you're saying like, hey, I don't want to put a number on the women because I may, I don't want to put a number on myself, then you have 10,000 is a good number, $10,000. And what I like to always say is or better. So you could say, $10,000 divided by the cost of the workbook. This is how many workbooks I need to sell. But I can impact many more women because I'm going to be impacting these women on social media, networking with the workbook, people sharing it, right? You can make, because I have a million women impact too, right? If you want to give a number, but you don't want to limit yourself, you just say or better, like $10,000 or more. 100 women, I want to impact the lives of 100 women or more, or 100 women or better, right? So you can always either, I recommend at least one metric, right? So if you don't want to say the number of women, like you did the amount of money, you can always say or more or better. That's leaving room for you, your universe, the mindset, God to bless you with more, okay? So just because you put a number down doesn't mean you're limiting yourself. And why we need more women of color in business, and I feel like I went over this in the beginning, you guys, but more women of colors, especially now, Black women are starting businesses than ever before. But the push for that is because they seem to be pushing us out of the workforce. I think recently the latest number was like 850,000 Black women and women of color have been pushed out of the workforce in the last 18 months under this administration, in the last 18 months. That is significant. That is significant. However, more women of color, when Black women and women of color start businesses, we tend to do more with less, meaning we don't get the amount of startup money and funding and grants and things like that as other people do. We tend to multiply the investment. So if someone does invest in us, we tend to generate and create more investment on their more return on their investment than anyone else. Women of color, Black women and women of color tend to give more back and invest more in their communities. There are whole like areas and regions where they take women who are like in poverty or living below a poverty line and teach them to start a business, and they notice that the whole community improves, not just a family or not just this place, but the whole community. So it's very important that we learn to create a business and make it sustainable. Because although we have all these high growth numbers, women of color, and when you break it down to race, Black women tend to have one of the lowest incomes when it comes to their businesses, right? Black women, and I think Hispanic women is the next lowest, meaning we start the businesses, but we're not generating the revenue. We tend to make 25K or less in revenue, right? And so we want to make that more. We want to make this sustainable. We want to make it a legacy. We want to make something that you can live off of, right? And still enjoy your life and spend time with your family. Wow, we need more. So if you do not have a business, you should be doing this. So I want to get into really, I shared some, so I'm going to do this part a little fast because I feel like I shared it in the beginning of how I manifested 40K in 1 month. Again, I was only working 20 hours a week while doing this, right? I want to share with you all the first thing I did is this forgiveness practice. And this was very important for me. At the time, I was even taking a manifestation class and I set this goal. I was like, hey, 40K. People were like, that is crazy. That is a lot. And I was like, nope, I'm going to do it. I had made I had earned large sums of money in a short amount of time, not quite a month, but like maybe like 6 weeks or something like that in a short amount of time. But it was with a lot of work. Like I was doing a launch, I would have been prepping for months and months and months. It was just a very much like a lot involved. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to make it peaceful, right? I want to do it my way. And for me, it was like, I need to release so many things. So I started a forgiveness practice. And I did this before I even thought about receiving anything. I was like, I need to release. I could feel the tension in my body. And sometimes the person or thing I needed to forgive, a lot of times would be myself. I had negative self talk. I had a lot of self doubt. I was thinking like, well, I'm always like, well, use examples. And then my brain would be like, yeah, they can do it, but you can't, right? And I'd be like, well, that's not even nice, Latrice. Why are you talking like that, right? And so I would have this whole visualization of me like chatting with myself, and I would just say, who do I need to forgive? And whoever or whatever came in my mind at that time, I would be like, I want to forgive you. I choose to forgive you. I forgive you. And then I would visualize like this black kind of like crystal coming out of my back and like looking at it and like releasing it and having it just turn into like positive dust. And I would finish this meditation and I would feel so light. I would be like, oh my goodness. Like I'm someone who carries a lot of tension in their back too, and like my lower back, my hips. And I was like, you know what? I have a lot of things that I'm holding on to that I need to release. One time I did this and it came up like this girl I was fighting with in middle school, right? I was like, I don't care what it is. I did not judge myself for what came up. I just forgave it. And I did this every day for 30 days. All right. Then my visualization. So I was really like stepping into the new me. So they have some terms for it. So sometimes it's called like mirror of the mind. Some people are like visualize what you want, whatever you want to call it. I like to think of it as like I just close my eyes and I would play out an entire scenario. So I had an entire scenario of like, okay, I'm going to do this and this is going to come to me. I'm going to do this and this is going to come to me, like a whole situation and scenario. I would think about my client outcomes, what I wanted them to say. Like, I don't think that you can control other people, but I think you can attract people to your energy. So I was like, I want to attract these people who value me. They're going to be like, oh my God, I got the job. Oh my God, I'm living in Jamaica, right? Like, oh my goodness, I'm doing these things. And this is exactly what wound up coming to me. Like, I wound up getting the most amazing clients that were completely aligned with me and my programs. But then I also thought about what do I want for my life? And I got really specific. I like to call it a day in the life, like a random Tuesday. And I was like, I want to be able to like take my son to school, go on like a field trip, like talk to new moms, come home, work with my clients, look at the money in my account. Like I got very, very specific. And the more you do this, the more you'll see it, right? And so if you notice there's something that's stopping you, like if you're visualizing, but something's like, girl, you can't do that, your car broke, or something like that. You have to visualize, okay, my car, the next scene or thing, my car is going to be fixed. I have amazing transportation or reliable transportation. So this doesn't have to be perfect. Your brain is going to give you whatever it gives. Your job is just to at least focus on one or two scenarios. That's it. All right. This can be easy. When I first started in the beginning of the month, this would take me like maybe 15, 20 minutes. At the end of the month, this whole thing could take 5 minutes. All right. And then here's the thing, aligned action. I took action. Let me just be clear. I did not sit around all day meditating and then that was it. After 15, 20 minutes, I did the work. I need people to be clear on this. The mindset, all the visualization, all these things help change your mindset. And some of you already know I have like a audio of affirmations that I listen to. So I recorded myself talking. pretty much about what I want, what I visualized, and then I put it over music, and I was just listening to it every day. Like I'd be doing my work, or I get ready in the morning, I listen to it. That's it, right? But then specific actions. And let me tell you all, these aligned actions. I had my goals. I knew what I wanted to manifest. I had my practice. And then I was like, okay, what actions are coming to me? During this time, I was like, I am going to put out my fearless branding formula. After a meditation, it was like, no, you have a new program. You're going to do something. And I was like, what? Oh my God. I was so nervous. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to create this new program. And it was like my leadership legacy program. Then it was like, you know what? Reach out to the people that you spoke for in the past. And I had a paid speaking engagement. I reached out to them and I was like, hey, haven't chatted in a while. Just wanted to see if you had any needs for a speaker. I gave them like a few, I always give like 3 ideas for topics. They responded. It was a paid speaking engagement. So they paid me to speak. At the end of it, I did my little pitch. From that paid speaking engagement, I think I got like 1 or 2 clients, but they were high level clients, like at the $8,000 rate. So I want to give specifics, and I'm sharing with you all how I did this. I adjusted my schedule. I wanted more freedom. So I adjusted my work schedule around my son's school schedule. And that was my decision. I know someone else, she adjusts her schedule around her cycle, around her period cycle. I know someone who adjusts their schedule around the weather. Like they have it's like when you get depressed in the wintertime, so you need like a lot of sun and things like that. Like she adjusted her schedule around that. I got the notion to increase my rates and I simplified my business model. So why I'm sharing this is to be like, yes, I did all these things to manifest. Like I did the mindset, I did the law of attraction, the power of assumption. I did all of that. And then I still took action, but the actions were very limited. I didn't email 100 people. I didn't go live every day, which I have tried that before. Like if that's your thing, fine. What comes to you in that meditation, or even if you just do a download, if you're like, I'm not the meditating type, you could just write something down, give yourself a prompt, look at your goal and be like, let me list 25 ways I would do this, and then drill it down to 3. Right? I'm a firm believer of like, just like 3, start with 3 things, implement those, then implement the next 3. But this worked much faster. And I had tried this method before in combination with what someone else taught me, and it didn't feel great. They were like, you got to email people 3 to 5 times a day for 30 days, go out, like all these things that did not feel good to me. Let me 50 weeks. Oh, okay. Oh, it says 50K in book sales in the next 6 months. Yes. Set the intent. Oh, yes. Seasonal affective disorder. Thank you, Trisha. Yes. Yes. That's what it was saying. So I'm sharing these different examples so that you know how this can work for you or your unique situation. All right. The bonus thing, I got support and I supported my nervous system. Meaning if y'all see me speak before, everybody knows I have a therapist. I have a therapist. I do yoga in the park. I think at the time my therapist was even offering like somatic therapy. I did the EFT tapping, which really, really worked for me. If you're like I get anxious sometimes, if you're someone who brain races, I really like the EFT tapping for that. I am not an expert in it. I just did like my version, but that really worked for me. And I could not meditate initially. My meditation came with a lot of practice. So I would recommend if you're like, I'm not someone who can meditate for like 15, 20 minutes, meditate for 30 seconds. Just close your mind, think clear for 30 seconds. I have a whole meditation process with like a 3, 2, 1 countdown and things like that. But the EFT tapping, I really enjoyed. But what is something you can do to support to get support and support your nervous system? Because I had a therapist, I had a coach, I was in a meditation program. I was utilizing my friends and family more. Like I knew I had a big goal and I was utilizing people who believed in my goal. That is another thing. And I've talked about this recently, I think when we did the Q&A. You will have people who mean well, but can still be negative or can still sabotage you. I am not someone who's like, cut them off, don't share your dreams. I would say limit the conversations you have with them about a particular goal. You can talk to them about everything else. And then find a support system, because you having your own belief is one thing, but the world will try to strip it away. Sometimes you're going to need other people when your belief is low who can pour into you. That's what I mean. It's very important that you do this too, okay? All right. So yeah, I got friend, therapy, coach, mentor. Okay. Community. I just want to, okay. So I already talked about these. So here's the three mistakes that I made and other women business owners make when trying to attract income. And I have made all of these sometime throughout my career and business. So just put one, two, or three, or one, two, and three, whichever ones. So number one is you're behaving as a worker bee instead of the queen bee. Okay. This is that employee mindset versus the entrepreneur mindset, right? So is you were connecting time and money. That is the same thing. If you're like, the only way I can make money is tied to my time, or the I have to do everything. Like at one point, I didn't have an assistant. It was the worst time. And once I hired someone, I started making way more money. Way, 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 way more money. Okay. And then putting limits on your money. I don't put limits on my money. So one of the things I said was like, I used to say 40K or more. I even wrote it down as my goal, 40K or more, 40K or better. So yes, the 40K was my goal, but I was still open to more or better or whatever the universe is going to bring. Another one of my visualizations that I would just close my eyes and see this is like I was at a table, there was like a dealer, it was like a poker table, and there was like money on here. And he'd be like, come get your money. And I would just scoop off the 40K, but it would still be money left. I won't even worry about clearing the table. I can come back and get it at any time. That was something that just stayed with me. That visualization I used all the time. And again, it's like 3 seconds, but it worked. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, y'all said one, two, and three, all of them. Everybody's like, all of them. Okay. Yes, do not put money. All right. And here's the thing, most of us are guilty of all of these. All right. Behaving like a queen bee, behaving like a worker bee versus a queen bee. Again, trying to still prove yourself, right? I have women, all right, this I was guilty of when I first started. Now, keep in mind, I had over 10, almost 15 years experience. I had degrees, I was supervising, and I was like, I got to start from scratch. I had to have another coach, a white woman, tell me, she was like, Latrice, if you don't raise your prices, she was like, you're not starting from scratch. You have all this experience, right? So I was still trying to prove myself, thinking like this is a completely different area of expertise. And she was like, haven't you already been like coaching and helping people in like your role of HR? I was like, yeah. She's like, stop this stuff, right? Um, Executing instead of strategizing. So if we want to get technical, when I was meditating and doing all and changing my mindset, I was strategizing. Like sometimes if you switch words, it makes people feel better. It's like instead of meditating, I was strategizing. But no, I was not executing at that time. I was strategizing. Sometimes we get in this thing where we just want to work, 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 and we think our value is tied to our productivity. So we always need to be doing something and moving. That's not it. You want to be strategizing, right? Following instead of leading. You need to lead. I just had one scenario come up with my assistant where I was like, okay, I need to be leading more, right? If you're doing instead of coaching and teaching, right? Doing your staff works. If you're burned out while your staff or other people are on vacation, right? Being that I'll do everything, or selling hard work instead of your brand and your expertise. And let me tell y'all, this is going to go for your career and your business. When you are talking to a client, you are not going to sell hard work, like all the things that you're going to do for. You need to be selling your brand and your expertise and how you can help them, not the hard work you're going to do for them, but the help. Or letting others control your career or business. I have been guilty of this one several times throughout my business. This is what it looks like to be a worker bee instead of a queen bee. When you decide you want to be a queen bee, step into your CEO identity, right? For me, I was like, what is CEO? I even call her like CEO Latrice. Like everybody knows CEO Latrice. Like CEO Latrice definitely on Mondays is like, all right, I'm in my CEO mode. Like CEO Latrice is not nice and smiley all the time. Just if y'all ever see me in CEO mode, head is down. I may be scratching out some things. I may be like, no, this does not make sense. This is not acceptable. I'm in CEO mode, right? Even with my clients, when I was helping them with their careers, I would be like, okay, if you want to be a chief people officer, what would you do in this situation? Try this on for 24 hours, right? If you want to be the CEO of your company, right? Not just I have a business, not just when people are like, I have a side hustle. Well, no, you are the CEO of your life and of this business. How are you going to show up and behave? You really need to get used to your CEO identity. That also means delegating and making decisions. Okay. So I wanted to share this client story about my client Kenya. She was working 70 hours a week. And here's the kicker. She had someone working for her, but she was working along with the person instead of letting the person do the work while she does something else. So her income was stagnant. She was already making close to six figures, but it was stagnant and her profit was low. Income versus profit. Income and profit are two different things. So she had the income, but because she was paying this other person such a high salary and doing the work alongside them, she was actually working more, paying herself less, and paying this person more, and she was making less profit. She was staying up till midnight doing work. She was running on empty. She felt trapped in her own business. Okay. After we worked together, I was like, what is your dream life? And she told me, she was like, I want to take midday naps. I was like, girl, take a nap. One, I was like, you've trained this person. Take off the training wheels. Let them work by themselves. You'll need to work beside them. Like before, it was just her doing the work. Now it's you and the girl doing the work. Just let her do the work. We put a cap on that person's salary so it wouldn't be dipping into her profits, but she blocked a certain time. I was like, you are the CEO. Block this time. Nobody can say anything, right? They don't need to know what you're doing. Have the girl answer the phones. And she blocked her schedule from 12 to 1:30 and it was non-negotiable. And she took naps. After she was like, I can't believe I did this. This is what I mean by your CEO identity and by instead of being the worker bee, the queen bee. Does the queen bee go out and find the honey, or does she direct them bees and tell them she want the nectar of some red roses and they come back and bring it? She strategizes, she dictates, right? And then they coming back and bringing it. I need you all to see yourselves as the queen bee, okay? All right. She had a hard stop at 6 p.m. every single day, no exceptions, right? And this was for her. For me, I don't mind doing things in the evening. I have a hard stop when I pick up my son. And then I'm like, all right, if I have like an evening workshop or evening webinar, that's the only thing, right? Like I'm not up, but I don't do my webinars every single day either. You can come up with your own schedule based on your own work cycle too. Don't let other people tell you you got to work 8 hours a day or you got to work a 9 to 5 or put again that employee mindset on you. If you are more of a night owl, you can do your stuff at night. In fact, when all this stuff was going on with my mother and my son and COVID, I don't know if you all remember, but I used to do this thing called midnight motivation because that was the only time my son was asleep, my mind was still racing. So I used to post on LinkedIn at midnight. Some people would see it then, people in different time zones would see it, people would see it in the morning. But that was when I could work. That was mine. Okay. She managed her employee better, set clear intentions and direction. She finally has the freedom she deserves, not just flexibility, right? Because she had the flexibility to like work from home and do things, but she didn't feel free. She felt tied to her business in a very negative way. She wound up doubling her income too. She wound up working less, doubling her income. But we strategized. We thought about her goals. She took her own time to meditate and would come back to me about what is her vision for her life and her business. Let me see. Did I say comment? Let me check the comments. I heard if you work in 8 hours in a job, you need to work 16 hours in your business. Well, Trisha, what does that mean? I don't like a day or like
No, I've just heard people say that more than one person.
what
Say,
is
like if you're working 8 hours on your job, if you decide to have your own business, like you essentially double it.
A day, like what, a day or like in a week? What did they make? Because when are you sleeping then? The numbers don't add up. I'm just like, what?
No,
No.
I think a day, like,
Okay.
yeah, like a day.
Okay. I haven't quite heard that, but I've heard something similar.
Hmm.
So I think what they mean is the concept of your efforts, not necessarily time. Like that, like so please, when y'all listen to like these hustle podcasts and these bros, please know that they be making this stuff up. Like they be making this stuff up too, right? Because it's like, is that even possible? Is that even possible? Like, I think what the intent is like you should be giving more effort to your business, double the effort to your business than your career. Is that what they mean? But like again, I had somebody tell me like, well, owning my own business is 24, it's a 24-hour a day job. And so they were like, I can't do that and work. I was like, but who's that that's made up? No, like you don't, right? This is people applying a employee mindset to an entrepreneur, to a business. And I can tell you those people are not actually successful. It's actually impossible to do that. Okay. Right, it's impossible, but it's not conducive. It is not sustainable. It's not going to bring you more income. You're going to like make more mistakes. The only way I can see somebody doing that is if you hired out. Like I know people who work full time, have a business, and then they have employees in the business. So the employees can work a total of 16 hours, maybe. But please, this is why we're talking about manifestation too, and your life goals. Is your life goal to work like 20 some hours a day, like 24 hours a day? Like that's not your goal, right? I would some of these notions, and you may have to unlearn. Let me tell you all too. This is not how other people run their businesses. You see the nonsense that they tell us as Black women and women of color. Do you all think that these other people are doing this in their businesses? No. In fact, I don't know if you all see, but recently I saw like a little bit of the Nike movie. So it's about Michael Jordan, but it's really about the deal and his mom, really. But Michael Jordan redefined. So they wanted to use him for licensing. And his mother was like, he was a portion of every sale. They're like, we're going to give you a car and a lump sum. She was like, I know what, she's like, my son knows what he could do. And the guy was like, no, his mom knows what he could do. And he was like, I want a portion of every sale, like essentially royalties. And they were like, that's just not how it's done. And she was like, it's either that or nothing. And they did it. It revolutionized the way athletes and other celebrities make deals. But right now, as of the like whenever that movie was made, he was making $400 million passively in passive income. 400 million. He is no longer playing basketball. $400 million. Okay. I always think about like a Beyonce and people who have a lot of money. You're like, they work, but they are not working 24 hours a day. So give yourself show your there are examples all around us where we know this isn't necessarily true. What I do believe is when you people say you have to work smarter, not harder, right? We all know broke, hardworking people, and we all know like lazy people who making a lot of money, right? So I think it's about working smarter, not necessarily the hours. And let me say this, if we go back to the beginning of what I said about an expertise-based business, whether the expertise is personal or professional, you do not need to put in all those hours because you already did the reps. I don't need to work 16 hours a day, right, in my business because I've already put in the reps as an HR professional. I keep up on things and current events and I get accreditations and certification things and I go to conferences and things like that, but I do not work 16 hours a day. All right. Let me know if this is making sense. And thank you for bringing that up, Trisha. That's a very good point
Yeah,
because this
it
is
makes sense. It makes perfect sense. But I didn't mean, I don't think they meant like work 8 hours on a job, then work 16 hours in your business. I think they meant, once you leave that job and then go into entrepreneurship, you need to kind of double and do 16 hours.
Okay, so that I have heard, right? So I see what you're saying. So they're not saying consecutive. They're saying if you were to leave your business, if you were to leave your job, you got to work 16 hours. That don't even make no sense. That
Right.
doesn't make sense. Either way, it doesn't make sense. But I have heard something like that before of like the effort. And I'm like,
Hmm.
why? I didn't even want to give them 8 hours. Not
Right.
like getting 16 hours a day still doesn't make sense. And it still doesn't leave you time to like properly sleep and eat and play and drive and do anything else, right? You can't even watch a Netflix show. And depending on your age and women, we should be getting more than 8 hours of sleep. We should be getting closer to 9 or 10 hours of sleep, right? So I thank you for clarifying. And that's what I thought. That's what I thought it was saying because I've heard something like that before. But what if it is actually the opposite? What if you could actually say, okay, if I work 40 hours a week and or 8 hours a day, and I'm working for somebody else and I know what I can do and they plan around, but I know also that I am an expert in my field. I can work 4 hours a week, I'm sorry, 4 hours a day and get the same amount of work done. We all know when we come to work, we probably playing a little bit. Let me tell y'all, and I'll tell you this. So this is going into the connecting the time and money as a mistake. So thank you for bringing that up because it brings me right to the next mistake. We connect the concept of time and money, and we need to disconnect the concept because they're like, well, if you work 16 hours a day, then you're going to make this money. That is not true. In fact, it negates the fact that you should be setting up systems. You could have, like, I have a VA that works for me who is very affordable. She's in the Philippines. Like, it negates strategy, it negates all of these things, right? It negates your expertise. But I had one of my clients and we were working on this similar concept, and she had a high, or what she thought was a high salary request. And so she interviewed with this company. They loved her. They offered her the role, but the salary was not where it's at. So they was like, we got to decline you. They was like, hey, we're going to decline because we can't meet your salary goals. She came back and was like, hey, I am an expert in this field. I've been doing HR. I've been doing HR for so and so. I'm looking at the job. She was like, I can do this in a fraction of the time and I can do it remotely. Therefore, you don't have to pay a full-time salary. You don't have to pay me benefits and I don't have to come in. They wound up signing her. That was her first client. She now has like a six-figure business and she still works full-time. Now she does everything is remote. So she works remotely for her full-time job and then her in her business she works remotely. But this is what I'm talking about when when you disconnect the concept of time and money, you'll be like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, do this, I can do that. You see how many ideas and things come to you. But I like to share that example of disconnecting the concept of time and money as the solution. This is the mindset, the shift that changed everything for me, for my clients. Again, I could not work like I did with the situation with my mom. Then another situation came up with my daughter. I realized I made the most money when I was taking care, like set aside, because I had to strategize. It's just like you know how they be like, don't do your papers last minute. But she was like, look, if I give myself 2 hours to do this paper, I'm gonna do this paper in 2 hours. Like it's almost like that concept, right? Um, but disconnecting the concept of time and money. And this has helped me in so many times where it was difficult times in my life. It also helped me in positive times, like when I would go on vacation. Okay. I would go on vacation and come back and have money in my account. I used to be like, the universe like it when I take off, right? Like, this is giving me money. We have been conditioned to believe that the more hours equals more money. And I think that's what they were saying. Like, okay, if you're giving your job 8 hours, then when you're no longer working, you should be able to put twice as much effort or time into your business. That is just conditioning. Your income is not determined by your time. It is determined by your value and your allotment, not your time. Again, have you set up systems? Have you strategized? What is your desired outcome? What are you attracting to you? What are your prices? What are your packages? Who's your ideal clients? All these things have nothing to do with your time. Okay. And it's just my little thing. When I stopped trading hours for dollars and started operating from a place of I am magnetic to money and clients, it completely changed me. So I have certain mantras that I tell myself like every day. And this was one of them. I think I had like a little that will have a little testimonial in here. I think so. There we go. Did I already share this one? Let me say, yes. Did I share this with you guys before about my client? She was starting her therapy practice. This is interesting, Trisha, because she was working full time. So again, she's someone who was working full time. And she wanted to start a therapy practice. One, she thought it would take her 12 months. I was like, girl, this is crazy. Like, she thought it would take her 12 months. She thought she needed like a website, she needed to be on Facebook, and she was like, I don't want to do social media at all. She was like, I don't know how to build my brand. And so she really came to me on some, okay, Latrice, help me get this. I know it's going to take a while. I know it's going to take 12 months, but we're going to work through it. I was like, who said what? 12 months? No. Because again, this was an expertise-based business. She was a therapist full time. She's been a therapist for 20 years. She decided to start her own practice, and she was starting this practice because she wanted to build a legacy for her kids. She envisioned like her children, they were older, like working in the business, things like that. So after we worked together, and like honestly, during that time, this only took her 2 months. She landed 10 clients in a new business in 2 months. In 2 months. Okay. We got clear on what she wanted, what her goals was. We really was like disconnect the concept of time and money because she was like, I need to do all this marketing. I need to be on Facebook and social media every day. And she was like, that was a deal breaker. She was not going to be on social media. Instead, one of the ways that we worked and got her clients was referrals because she had built up a brand. She had been in the industry for 20 years. I said, girl, let's just make some emails and phone calls and tell people that you open, like, and they can refer you clients. That's what they did. She also got on the directory, Therapy for Black Girls. Again, being very clear on who her ideal client was and how to attract them. And by her writing that down, and then when she wrote her little message in her directory, she only got the type of clients that she wanted. Okay. She built a pipeline of referrals. 10 clients was her max. She was actually booked out. So this is why when people say you need to work twice as hard, you do not. She still had her full-time job. She was not going to work 60, even 8 hours a day, right? She got to create her own schedule. Because by this point, I was like, you're going to be the CEO. So she created her own schedule. She knew what her max was, and her max was 10 clients. Then she was like, she can slowly lessen her hours at work and increase her business. When people tell you like, oh, you need to completely quit your job. No, you can build your business, a thriving, successful business alongside your job. Eventually, her goal is to quit, but she didn't do that right away. She still may be working there, right? Let me see. I saw some comments, and I just want to get to the comments before I move on. Very good point. Just heard about this today, fractional work. Oh, yes. Patricia, tell me more about what was the part that you heard about today? The fractional work part, or let me know.
Yeah, it was something that I ran into on LinkedIn, and they say that it's different from contracting work. It's like fractional work, like you're an expert in whatever field you're in, and you, I guess, get contracts with businesses and maybe negotiate between like $3,000 and $10,000 a month, but you only work on a part-time basis, if I'm
Yeah.
explaining it right. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So several of my clients do that. I have some clients that act as, let's say HR. Right? I get a lot of HR people, right? But they, instead of being an HR consultant, they are the HR director for the business. But they
Yes.
have a certain
Yes.
amount of hours that they dedicate to the business. Okay. So my first, the example that I was telling you all about the first time and who had the employee and everything, that's what she did. She served as the HR director. She had about 5 companies, right? So could you imagine 5 companies? She's the HR director, and she was letting them call her, and she was letting them do it. We had to rein some of this in. We had to rein some of it in, because it was like, okay, do the employee handbook, but also the employees are calling, like they're the first point of contact. I'm like, okay, you automated message, you'll get back to them within 28 or 48 business hours, right? There are some things you can do even with that. But then when she hired on this other person, and this comes to like, we have to get in the mindset, it's okay. Mistake number 3, don't put limits on your money. It's okay to make money when we don't work for it. And I know that's a hard concept for us because she was like, how can I take this money when my employee doing the work? But you paying her. That's what it's for. She do the work, you get paid, then you pay her, right? Like don't work alongside her. And now both of y'all doing the work, but you still have to pay her first. No, 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 no. This is what I mean by that, by the business mindset. So that's when I say to you all, like some of the things these people say, I'll be like, they know that's not true. They be out here saying stuff they know not true, right? They be like, right? So do not put limits on your money. Don't think that the only way you can make money is by actually doing it, or that the only way you can deserve money is that you're actually doing it. And this is especially important for you all who have written books or have different programs. You wrote the book once, that book has to keep selling. You don't have to keep working for it. The main thing you have to keep doing is like marketing the book, right? But you don't have to keep writing the book. The same book is written. Think about it. Like sometimes, especially Black women, it's this thing of like, we need to earn every dollar. I really think that's some stuff from like back in the day, like that's some trauma. We don't need that anymore. You can earn that money and then look at Michael Jordan getting these royalties. Look at Beyonce. She is not out here making these hair products, okay? Somebody else made the hair products. She using her brand and her resource and make some good hair products, right? And then and another place is selling them and she getting that money. So when you're thinking, I need to work or earn every dollar, you are automatically putting limits on your money because you are only human and you can only work so much. But when you think about book royalties, music royalties, tennis shoe royalties, when we think about digital products, we have to disconnect that. We have to be like, no, I've earned this already. They're paying me for my expertise. They're paying me for the solution, right? Like I always think about it as impact. I'm like, I don't need you to pay me for my hard work. I like to get rewarded for my impact. And I always think that. So even with, I do these webinars and the more I share, the more I refine. Like I did a Q&A and I had someone book a call who was not on the Q&A, right? And I have that a lot. And I'll be like, oh, they just booked the call. I was like, oh, they weren't even on the Q&A. But I was like, the impact I'm putting out there is reaching people, is pushing people, even if it's just my energy. So I don't always feel like I need to work hard for every single dollar. I want you all to think like that. So do not put limits on your money. And if something is tied to your time, it's going to be limited because you're only human and you have a limited amount of time to do things, right? So this was my thing. People, and I had other people being like, oh, how can you make that amount in a month? Or you can't do this. I always like to take big people. I used to be like, well, this person made 100,000 in a month. So I'm only asking for 40. Like that's not even much, right? Also have the mindset money can come from anywhere. So I was working with this one person and she was like, well, this money came from this grant, so I can't count that. I was like, but money is money going into your account. Why can't you count it? Like she was making herself feel bad because she was separating out the money, right? And I was like, but it's all going to your business account, right? And she's like, yes. Please do not limit your money. Don't start coming up with a narrative and then trying to make it true. Like I had a client and she was making six figures, but she was like, I don't know. Am I? I was like, she was like, but I can't count the benefits. I can't count my bonuses. Why can't you count a bonus? They're paying it. It is hitting your account. That is part of the money you're going to be able to spend. So be aware the money can come from anywhere and we're not putting limits on our money. That's just like I said, I always say a number or better or more. Okay. This is the one that will set you free if you limit it. I tell people the easiest thing to manifest is money. Yo, now my husband is a believer. I have friends and family. They'll be like, all right, show me how me manifest this money. I have to say, I'm like, money is only energy. Things that are harder to manifest, a house, love, family, kid, like those things can be a little harder. Stuff involving other people. I was even open to like the money not necessarily coming from clients. I got an $8,000 speaking engagement. right? It was for a training, but I called it a speaking engagement. But I had to be like, you know what? I am open. Because at first I was like, it needs to come from my FBF program. And then after I meditated, I was like, nah, no, it can come from anywhere. And I'm going to create another program for a higher level, right? And then after meditation, it was like, reach out to these other people for a training. I sent them a training with a proposal. I put 3 options with the 8K in the middle, and they chose that middle option, right? And so be open to like the money can come from anywhere. Like, yes, I want to do the book sales, I want to make an impact, but like if that 10,000 came from like a company or an association who wanted to buy 70 copies of my book, of my workbook, I'm fine with that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, be open. This will change everything. Don't put money in a box. Stop deciding it can only come from one offer, one workbook, one client, one launch. Don't do that. You can say, you can be out there how you would like it to come, but be open to be like, it can come in any way. I'm open to this. When I did this and when I started having my clients do it, they were shocked how the money came in different ways. And again, we think about all the other things. We're disconnecting the concept of time and money. We're knowing that we're the queen bee and that we're strategizing. So now we're open to different ways it could come from without it being directly tied to our time or taking up a lot of our time and energy. All right. Any questions on that? Because let me check the comments. Total comp, yes. But it wasn't even her, like when I think of total comp, I'm thinking of like your benefits that you don't see, how much they paying for all this. It was bonuses that was hitting her account. And I'm like, girl, no, this is actual cash. You're making 6 figures. I had other people in their businesses who be like, but this money came from this way, so I can't count it. I was like, you put it in your bank account, right? Like you better count it. I am not like when I get money, I am like that. I am grateful. I'm like, thank you. I am grateful. I will honor this. But what I don't do is disregard it because it didn't come the way that I thought was correct. And that even when I was like taking care of my mom and then my daughter got sick, it changed everything. It changed so many things for me because I can get, again, I have this A-type personality and I like I love puzzles too. I like putting together puzzles. I like everything to fit, right? And so I really had to be like, it's okay if it doesn't fit in the box that I arbitrarily designated. But I just want to share it with my client, Jenny. This is one of my clients who she came to me for business and I actually got her from a um a speaking engagement, a paid speaking engagement, but she thought she had plateaued. So she was making 200K revenue. That wasn't necessarily her take home. So just to be clear, but that was her business income. And she was like, I don't think I can make any more. She wanted to make a little over 6 figures for her salary. And she was like, I can't do it. I'm maxed out. She had came up with this real creative reason why she was like maxed out. I was like, in a business, there's really no such thing as like maxed out on income, right? But she was like, I'm maxed out. She knew she was capable of more, but she was like, I'm just stuck. She was playing small, despite having like, to me, her business was thriving. It just needed, the only situation it needed was for her to really unlock her mind. And I was like, okay, you want to make over 6 figures as your salary. You need to grow the business. And she kept saying, I can't, because she truly believed she plateaued. I didn't believe it, but she restricted her own money. And once I was like, that's not real, girl. It's just in your brain. She then found all these other revenue sources very quickly. I want to say this happened in about 6 months, and she scaled her business from 200K to 600K very quickly. This money came in from grants. It came in different ways. So just to be clear, it wasn't all clients. It came in different ways. But very quickly, she tripled her income. I think by the end of the year, like most of this came in like the 6 month time frame, and then by the end of the 12 months, she was going to have the 600K, right? She tripled her income really using manifestation, a live strategy, and we really had to work on her mindset. That was the only thing blocking her from this income, was that she had convinced herself that she had hit her limit. How many of us do this in our careers, in our business, in our personal life, where we create an arbitrary ceiling? And let me tell you, as Black women and women of color, we already gonna have people putting ceilings and limits on us. We then don't need to do it to ourselves. We got to find a way to break through theirs. When we add an extra layer, this is where, to me, it was like this is where the mindset, manifestation, support really comes in, because she couldn't see that this was a self-inflicted limit. Like she did that herself. She stepped fully into her role as a Dream Life CEO of like, okay, what do you want to do? Like, once you're earning this, how do you want to? She was really big into like giving back to the community. We wound up like, she thought her business was a local business only. And when we looked at it, we was like, but you can even be in different states. So that's where some of the revenue came from too. And it unlocked 400K in revenue. I like to share this as like the final story because I like to show you all what is possible. And all the women whose stories I share with you all, they're Black women. Just so you know, all of them, Black women, different scenarios, some single, some married, some family, things like that, but they are all Black women, okay? Any questions? Because we're coming to the end. This is the questions part. We went over a lot, but I shared with you all what I did, mistakes I've made, mistakes and solutions that my clients have made, and some case studies with you all. So we should be feeling like, are we feeling like we ready to conquer the world and make this money? How we how we feeling? Let's do a check-in, right? How we feeling? How we feeling? Y'all can tell me in the comments. All right, here we go. I want to hear. And it is okay if you feel like, yeah, my situation is different. Just know I specialize in different. What I find is that I, although we have a commonality, a common thread of like being Black women or women of color, and we're going to have some shared experiences, I understand that we also have unique and different experiences. This is why I try to give you all a lot of different examples too. I am here to help you all, help you with your business, secure your freedom. This is my specialty in my Dream Life CEO program. I'm going to be sharing a lot more about this program in the next couple of days, but I'm kind of like unveiling it now on this workshop. Let me see. Let me check the comments. Let me see. I just saw. All right, Queen Bee. Yeah, okay. We should be having Queen Bee energy. I like this. We should be feeling Queen Bee energy, you guys. Queen Bee energy, okay? As a thank you gift. And I think if you already had a call and you want to have another call, that's fine. I am doing 15-minute Dream Life virtual coffee calls. Let me see if I can put my is it gonna let me copy this? Uh-oh. If you all go to calendly.com/Latrice/virtual coffee, you can book a free 15-minute Dream Life virtual coffee call with me. We're going to talk into specifics about your business, your life, where you want to be. I'll give you some suggestions. I'll also tell you a little more about my Dream Life program, Dream Life CEO program that is specifically designed for Black women and women of color, business owners and professionals who are ready to grow their business and still having freedom. Like if you're like, okay, I'm ready to make that 50,000 in my business, but I do not want to work 16 hours a day. Like this, if you want to work 16 hours a day, fine, but this ain't for you. This is the person who's like, I want to make 50, 100,000. You guys, I have another, I didn't even put this up, but I have another client who went from, she was a career client of mine, she was a lawyer, and then she went from starting her own law firm, and she immediately took it from six figures to multiple six figures. We worked together, we changed concepts, and again, she was someone, she's married with 3 kids. So the things that I'm sharing with you all is will work for anyone. This is based on your life, your dreams, your goals. But the money has no limit and you can do this. I do recommend having a goal though. All right, let me see. I'm going to try to let me see. I think it's all right. Any questions? Any questions, comments? I'm going to put my I'm going to put the link in the comments too. But in the meantime, you can either come off mute or you can put it in the comments. Let me know. I said I'll do questions for around 10, 15 minutes. We're going to see what questions you all have. Almost sorry. Oh, that was good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oida, any questions before we hop off? Or Shamika, any questions, you guys?
Latrice, this has been so good. I was thinking when I came on here that I don't really have any thoughts about another business. And so it really helped me to think, and now I have so many ideas. And I was wondering, how does this fit into retirement?
Oh, like if you're not working, but you have retirement coming in?
No, if I'm about to retire. And so that's what I was thinking about. The transition. I guess it would be the same as
It's
if, Mhm, go ahead.
no. Go ahead and then I'll tell you. The last one that I gave you, she was a retiree.
Oh, okay, okay.
But go ahead.
Yep, that's what I wanted to know. Just more about that. I was thinking in terms of retirement. What does that look any different from what you've described?
Okay. So what I noticed with the people with retirement is again, kind of like the same thing I did, thinking that you're starting from scratch or you're starting over versus like, I have all this history, I have all this expertise. You have professional expertise, right? And you still have, I don't know if you're going to have retirement coming in, but some of the people that I work with, they had a little bit of retirement, but not enough for the to maintain the lifestyle that they want, if this makes sense. Where they were like, all right, I'm going to have this coming in, but it's not enough to maintain the lifestyle I want. If that is the case, then I would recommend starting and building the business now alongside while you're transitioning, because you're going to have a definite date for transition. My one client that I was telling you about who was looking for the job and then they declined her because of the salary, she's not retiring anytime soon. So she maxed out on her clients. My other one, the therapist, right? She's thinking about phasing out, but the other person was retired. I say this, when you're retiring, you're going to have a set date. So, yes, I would recommend building your business alongside it, but think about how much money you want for retirement and how much free time, and be real with yourself because that's going to determine your business structure, right? Like, if you are like, hey, I like the book, if you're like, I really want to do the book, then I would start getting on podcasts. I would start promoting that book now. Like, it's a lot of things I would be doing now alongside the job because you're going to have a definite end date. So your money needs to grow exponentially. If that makes sense. Where my client who's going to be working for the next 15, 20 years, she's like, all right, I'm only taking 5 clients and then I'm done because she got forever. She's not she put that limit on her because again she wants a life and she has a full-time job, so she's not growing it towards retirement. She's like, I'm gonna grow it, then hit a stopping point, and investing that money. For you, I'd be like, okay, things need to be happening, like it needs to be continuous growth, right? Because you're going to be stopping working. Now is a good time for you to think about how you want your retirement to look, really, right? Like my husband retired and went right back to work. Right? So he retired and went right back to work. Some people retire and start businesses, but they like, I ain't gonna be working a whole bunch of hours in this business. My one client, the one I just told you about, she retired, but she thought 200K was her max. Keep in mind that was her revenue, not her salary. And she was like, I need more salary, right? So think about, well, how much would you need? When do you plan on retiring? Let's say that. Is it in the next 5 years or when?
Mm-hmm. Yep, in 5 years.
Oh, okay. It's like, yeah, in
Hmm.
5 years.
Hmm.
Oh, 5 years is on that's plenty of time. Like that's a good amount of time. That's probably the perfect amount of time is 5 years. You got
Well,
Go ahead.
I also want to say this publicly. I'm coming up on a year on a position that I took after working with you, and the amount was not exactly what I was looking for. However, it is the most that I've made since 2010. And so
Hmm.
this is why I continue to be your client. Continue to be your client. So, but this is a different train of thought, and I just want to thank you again for the workshop.
you. Thank you. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm glad to hear it. But yes, if you are planning on retiring in 5 years, I would. And you said you're in Texas. I'd be looking up how to start a business in Texas. I'd be looking up they have some different things with their taxes and filings and things like that. Nothing crazy, nothing hard, but I would, because you want to be looking at continuous growth, where someone else who's going to be working for the next 10, 15 years, they can just stop at 5 or 10 clients and be like, I'm gonna hold it here for the next few years. But you need that, I would say, for continuous growth. That's what I would say. What business were you looking into? Tell me your business ideas or the business that you have.
Sure. I was planning on utilizing the books to start hosting summer camps.
Oh, yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Like, yes. Is that
Yep.
something you feel like you already wrote the book.
Hmm.
Yeah, you could
Hmm.
do that now, and then again, by growth meaning maybe you start with like a local area or a partnership and one or two, and then growing to three or four. Also, what will increase is your systems, the hiring, people doing things for you. All these things will get faster and better. So by the time you retire, you can have a business that is working for you, that is generating income, but you don't need to work in every day. You can still enjoy your retirement, but you still have a business too. But that
Okay.
gives you some time. Yeah. I like it. Do you want to tell us about your book?
My book, I wrote it a couple of years ago, but it is still necessary, and it's for parents who have students who are getting ready to go to college, and so it's how to not graduate with debt.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
I'll put my website in the chat.
I think we need that like right now. I think people need it like right now. That is awesome. Awesome. Yes, share with us. Yeah, share with the book, share everything. I like that. You sh you should definitely be talking about that right now. You should be on podcasts. I feel like it's a lot you can start doing with that right now. What you doing right now for it? What you doing now?
You will not let me out of this. I I haven't done anything with it in a couple of years. Well, I can say this. I started a nonprofit last year, and so the nonprofit actually paid for the books for me to be able to give them away.
Okay. All right, you can do that. Yeah, it's good.
Mm.
All right, go ahead, Trisha.
Okay, I have a question. So I'm between jobs right now. I am currently unemployed. So my question is because, well, let me just say that I've been looking for my next six-figure role, right? How hard should I focus on that is my question. And then the other part is since I'm not working, should I just focus on my reinvention workbook full time? I feel like I need money coming in now.
Okay, then that's your answer. Trisha, y'all, please don't let these other people tell you about your life and your money and what you need. If you need money right now, okay, while
Mhm.
I do, to me, and I used to say this all the time, this is coming even from a career coach. I used to tell people, like, if you need money, the fastest way is to get a new job or a promotion.
Yeah.
That is going to be faster than starting a new business. And that's the truth. Now, as an established business, it wouldn't be true. So when established businesses give you this advice and they're like, you could make 25K in a month. Yes, because they were established. So even when I made that 40K in a month, and I'm very clear about this, my business was already established. I was already making lump sums. I made the money in a short amount of time, but I made it in a specific way too. So I'm like, I'm gonna be very honest about that. When I was first starting off, I did not make $40,000 in a month. Yes, it is possible, it is doable. Just when you're starting off, it can take a little longer. Okay. So for you, I would make that primary finding that six-figure job. That doesn't mean you can't still work on promoting and selling your book. Like they're not mutually exclusive the way
Yeah,
people think. Again,
understood.
that's why I gave you that example of my one client who was looking for a job. They declined her and she still started her business. Now, that contract was not going to be equal to her salary. So she was still looking for a job, but it was a decent amount. And people like corporations and stuff like this. Let me just tell y'all, corporate companies can take a little bit of time to give you your money. Private clients pay faster. Like I like private clients. Corporate clients, the lump sum can be more, but it takes a little longer to get your money. Private clients, it's a little less, but you get your money very, very quick and immediately. Okay. So that's what I would recommend, Trisha. And I think we talked before about possibly having 3 different price points. But I would say for you too, I want to look over it and I'll give you some more specific advice when I look over the workbook. But I would say let's get started now. Here's the thing. Once you make that first sale, once you get that first dollar, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And I'm gonna give you all some great advice. Somebody told me they were like, it takes just as much effort to sell a $30 product as it does a $3,000 service. Now, why I don't 100% believe that, it's like 70% true. It really is. Um, Even low ticket products take energy and time for people to sell, like build up trust and sell and things like that. And especially you want to sell volume. So that's why I was like, I would definitely start looking for that 6-figure job as my primary. In the meantime, though, I would still be like, okay, do I have a finished product that I can sell, even if it's at a low price point? And I would be like, okay, what can I do? I like to think sales every day. However, sales every day does not always involve you. It could be systems. Like I have emails going out. My assistant sends out those emails. Those can make a sale, right? A replay. People see me on LinkedIn, things like that. Oh, no worries. We're about, and I'm sorry, I said I was going to be done at 8:30. But no worries, Owita. We're almost done. We're finishing up now. But thank you so much. So keep that in mind. Oh, and if you all haven't booked a call, I'll put the link in to book the call as well. But that's what I would say, Trisha. You've got a great idea. I see people on LinkedIn even doing something like that too. Like with um the reinvention.
Okay.
I saw one person and I love her. She's doing like breaking generational curses. Like people are right now getting very specific in things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Love the reinvention over 50. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Like I'm gonna look over the workbook that you sent me, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably girl. I'll be looking at partnerships, collaborations, um, and what's natural to you. I know you were like, you're not really for the speaking things, but see what feels natural for you because the workbook may not be the only way that you can make money from the workbook. Okay.
Yeah.
Think about your level of expertise.
Okay.
Right? And that could bring in larger sums of money. Shamika, did you have any questions?
No questions. I was waiting for you to finish to say this was great. Thank you so much. I am going to book a virtual coffee call, so I will see you soon.
All right, thank you guys. All right, so in my mind, we only went 4 minutes over because I said like 4 minutes. But thank you all so much. This has been so much fun. I'm gonna keep everybody posted. I'm gonna send more out. You'll see some emails over the next few weeks about my Dream Life CEO program. And I want to hear y'all stories too. I want y'all to at least take one thing from this. Oh yeah. Share. I should have been like, share this out. Post one thing, like one thing that you learned that you're like, I'm gonna do this. Whether it's the meditation, whether it's disconnecting the concept of time and money, think about just the one thing and let me know. But you all have a wonderful night.
You
Bye.
too, Latrice.
You
Thank you
too.
so much.
Bye.
Thank you, Shamika.